Frank, and we have a couple questions for you. Or I have a couple questions for you that I've been wondering. Now, first and foremost, like, what exactly is a head of story? I don't understand. Give me some details.
All right, so a head of story is the person that comes in and helps like create the story. But what's interesting about it is like my background is actually not in video games. So my background is more on the TV side. I worked for a long time in Sony Television. I worked for Hasbro Studios. And so when I met Lemming, basically we talked a lot about me working on things like Transformers and My Little Pony and Spider-Man and Avengers and Young Justice and all these shows. And I kind of come from a background on working on those big shows that you know where you watch the TV show and you play the video game and you buy the toys and like it's just this whole sort of you can engage with Optimus Prime or Rainbow Dash or Spider-Man in a bunch of different ways. And it just happened to be at the time that Gorilla Tag was thinking about doing the same thing. They were like, look, we have this awesome game. Everybody loves this game. It's the most popular game in VR. But aside from like a handful of characters like Lemming, Frank, a couple others, there isn't really a story to Gorilla Tag. Like it's not like Mario. It's not like you're like, all right, well, we gotta save the princess, and there's Bowser, and there's Luigi, and we know what the story is. Like, you guys are just running around in those maps, and you're playing tag, and you're having a blast, but like, there's no bad guy, there's no mythology. So they were like, we're looking for someone to come into the company and work with us and start to put more characters into the world and start to put more story into the world and lore, and then take that lore and those stories and turn it into TV shows and movies and comic books and all the other stuff that you guys like with all your other brands. And that is what I've been working on for the past year. That is what a head of story does. And so I've been working with, and I've been working with my boss Jake, who was in here a little bit ago with Lemming, and we are on the monkey business entertainment side of the company.
So I've heard a lot about this monkey business entertainment. Can you explain that a little bit more?
I can talk about monkey business entertainment. So, you know, like Lemming said earlier, he is happiest when he is just working on the game. And so he's bringing in a bunch of other people who are really good at doing all the other things. And so monkey business entertainment is all the stuff for Gorilla Tag that's outside of the game. And so for me, head of story, entertainment is a big part of that. But also, we work with all of our toy partners, and we work with the people making all the awesome product for you guys. And Monkey Mayhem is part of that. Contagion is kind of part of that. Anything that's sort of outside of the main game is stuff that Monkey Business Entertainment is working on. And so it's really fun.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so far, how would you say the job is going?
So it's going good. We're doing some really good stuff. It's also going slow. So one of the things that I know from working in the TV industry for a long time is that getting a TV show or a movie made takes a lot of time. So we've been having a ton of really, really good meetings. And the good part about me having my background and Jake having his background is we've done this a bunch of times. So one of the things that I said to Lemming when I first met him, and I think you guys will appreciate this, is I was like, look, Gorilla Tag is awesome. You guys have the most popular game in VR. But if you went and met with like Netflix tomorrow, or you met with Nickelodeon tomorrow, and you were like, we want to make a Gorilla Tag TV show, and they said yes, and you just started doing it, they would probably make a show that had nothing to do with the game. They would probably like hire somebody and go, all right, we got a red monkey, a yellow monkey, a blue monkey, and a purple monkey, and they are on the hunt for bananas, and that's what the TV show is. And the TV show would come out, and you guys would be like, that's really lame. That does not feel like the game at all. And so I was like, we gotta like work internally at the company, and we've gotta take some time to build out characters and build out story and build out stuff so that when we walk into those rooms, we're not just going, we have a really, really cool game and our community is amazing and they play tag. Because then they'll be like, all right, well, like, what's the story? Like, why do we care about that? But making Frank and Beans videos every week, doing these big live events in game, doing things like Monkey Mayhem and Contagion, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. Now when we go into these rooms, we have all of these ideas, and we have all of these other characters, like Chimpity Octane and the Masked Monkey and Monkus. And so now we're starting to go in with a lot more opinions about like, this is what we think it should be as a company, and it helps make sure that when we do get the Gorilla Tag TV show set up, and when we do start making the Gorilla Tag movie, it really is something that we know is gonna feel like the game that you guys love.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what do you say you're working on right at this moment? You mentioned Contagion, Monkey Mayhem.
So, we mentioned this a little bit with Lemming, but the first thing that we really started doing is these live events that you guys have been talking about. And the very, very first live event we did at the beginning of this year, which was where the meteor crashed and the giant alien came out, like Lemming said, we always knew that that was going to be a kickoff to building the space map. But we knew with these live events, we also wanted to start building these other characters. And we wanted to start making Frank and Beans and Lemming and all of these characters a bigger part of the world inside the game. Like Lemming was just saying, it's a balance. Like, what's cool about Gorilla Tag right now is that you guys get to go in every day and you get to run around and have fun with your friends. And you get to do awesome stuff. And if we all of a sudden changed Gorilla Tag overnight, and it was a story-based game where you had to go in there and play levels and fight bad guys every day and didn't get to just play tag, that would feel pretty weird. It wouldn't be great. But when we have these big updates, doing these live events that kick off bigger story things so that you do have these bigger things of what's happening in Gorilla World, that's a big, big part of what we're doing. And so far it's been good. Like, we've heard from the community, like we did them early on. Maybe they were happening a little bit fast. And so we're slowing them down a little bit, but we're not stopping. So everything that we've been doing was sort of leading to Gorilla Corp, sort of getting us to the space map. We have plans with the aliens, but we're already talking about some live events that we want to do at the end of this year and live events we want to do kicking off next year that are going to start to build more of the story inside the game. And I think that's really, really cool. And then the other place that we're building a lot of story is that I get to work every week with this guy over here, and we have been making a lot more Frank and Beans videos. And that gives me, I have a question for Frank, actually. When did Beans first come on the scene? When did Beans first show up?
Beans has been bugging me for years. He's been playing Gorilla Tag for almost 5 years now. He's one of my family friends, and he did a Frank impression, and it was the cutest thing that I ever heard in my life. And I was like, this kid has got to be in some videos. I asked his parents, and his parents were okay with it. He's not allowed to like go on camera or anything, but yeah. So Beans is just like one of my followers for years now, and having to be a Gorilla Tag player, and it worked out perfectly.
So yeah, so it's been really, really fun to work with Frank and Beans in making these Frank and Beans videos every week. And if you guys have noticed, over the past year, I'd say, we started to build some more storylines. We started, to have Beans notice the green dot in the sky at the beginning of the year. Beans and Chloe looking for the masked monkey, like Beans becoming friends with Eduardo. And so we started to just add more characters into the world, and we're gonna keep doing that. And I think seeing where Frank and Beans go on their adventures, if I was going to bet money on where Gorilla Tag is gonna go as far as entertainment and where we go, I was saying the other day, I'm a big Pixar fan. I love Pixar movies, but I think Woody and Buzz are awesome. I think Mater and Lightning are awesome. I think Mike and Sully are pretty awesome. But Frank and Beans are pretty up there. I think Frank and Beans could hold their own in a movie just as well as Woody and Buzz or anybody else could.
What do you guys think? Yeah. Would you like to see Frank and Beans? Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But the other thing that's pretty cool is, even though these Frank and Beans videos are super short every week, and we just do these little bits of it, we've been talking internally about, well, could we do a longer Frank and Beans? Right now, Frank and Beans episodes every Friday are what? 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, 3 minutes?
Max. Yeah.
How would you guys feel about watching longer Frank and Beans videos on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking about ways that we can sort of expand the Frank and Beans storyline. And I think that's something that could happen on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, but probably also start happening in some of our live events and games too. And so I think following Frank and Beans on adventures, you see something on YouTube, Beans says, hey, meet me here on update day, and then you go into the update and Beans is there, you get to run around with Beans, Frank is looking for you guys. I think stuff like that is really, really fun. It feels authentic to Gorilla Tag, but I know this from working at Hasbro and working at the places I've gone, those kind of things are super unique. You guys have something going that no other IP can do. Because Gorilla Tag is a real place, you can go there, you go into VR, you go there on update day, you guys can all run around, you guys can interact with these characters in a way that you can't interact with Optimus Prime. You can't interact with Buzz Lightyear. And so I think as we look at the way that entertainment is going, and the entertainment industry is looking for new ways, like how do we like capture that younger audience? You guys have something that no one else has, and I think that's one of our biggest like superpowers and secret strengths.
Absolutely.
But the other thing that I get to work on that's pretty cool is all of the announcements that you guys have seen this week. So what's really neat about Gorilla Tag being the size of the company that we are, what another Axiom is the size of the company is, as we build out all these other things, we're all talking to each other. We're all friends, we all hang out, like we all really, really get along. And so when Contagion came along and we knew that we were gonna make this game that was more of this like shooter where you got to fight all these bad guys that was a little bit creepier, a little bit older, we said, well, what's the story? And we looked at Ghost Reactor in the game, we looked at Gorilla Corp as kind of this really mysterious company, and we were like, all right, well, let's build a story around that. And so what if some Gorilla Corp employees got stuck in there and started to find out some of the things that Gorilla Corp was really, really getting into? And that started to become this story that we built out. And then these 4 characters that are going to be 4 of the playable characters in game are actual characters with personalities, with backstories. And so that's something that as you guys get to play the game when it comes out next year, you're going to get to know. But it's all part of the bigger Gorilla World universe. So it's not like this is just some offshoot game that has nothing to do with the Gorilla Corp that you guys see in Gorilla Tag the game. This is something that ties in. It's all one giant universe. And every stuff that happens in Contagion, stuff that happens in our live events in game, it's all connected, it all goes together. And then the same is true for Monkey Mayhem. So, we're gonna have an awesome panel this afternoon that you guys should totally check out, where the Monkey Mayhem team is going, thanks guys. Where the Monkey Mayhem team is gonna talk more about what's going on with their game, but I've been working with that team as well to go, okay, you've got this awesome world, we're taking Gorilla Tag into mobile, but like, what is this weird island? Like when you looked at some of the pictures or you saw the trailer that we released, you got like these floating islands, it looks a little weirder, a little bit more mysterious and fantastical than what happens in Gorilla World in-game. And so we were like, all right, well let's just, like that's super cool, let's figure out story reasons. Like where did the masked monkey take these monkeys? Why are they on this island? What is it that they're trying to do? What are their bigger things? And I think that's been really, really fun. So it's sort of like, even though we're going to meetings, we have, I think we actually have some meetings set up next week when we get back from GorillaCon to talk about TV show meetings, movie meetings, animation meetings. We also get to do this all day. And this is building out the story so that by the time we actually get the movie going and we get the TV show going, like, we've already got a year or two of story under our belt that's like really, really awesome and amazing.
We're ready to go.
Yeah, we're ready to go, y'all. Look, I got my Frank Bean socks on. I'm ready to rock. Like, you can buy them downstairs at the merch booth.
Hey, and you might want 2, so you can wear 2 Frank and 2 Beans, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey. But we talk a lot about story. Now, how do you build a story, would you say, for Gorilla Tag?
All right, so building a story is my favorite thing to do in the world. And like working with, like I said, working with big companies and working on things like My Little Pony and Transformers and G.I. Joe, I got like a lot of training on how to do it. So this is sort of what we've created internally, that I don't think there's anything too spoilery on there. It's pretty much fine. But I'm a big fan of Star Wars. So when I'm thinking of how do you build out a universe and how do you take a game that doesn't have a lot of story and mythology and character and start to figure out where you want to tell those stories, I sort of build, this is how my brain works. So this is something I made up to sort of get everybody in the company on the same page. So think of that big circle in the middle as like the original trilogy of Star Wars. It's the first 3 movies where you got to meet the characters, you know what's going on, and that's like Gorilla World today when you guys put on your headset. So that's the Frank and Beans videos, that is the live events that are happening, that's Lemming, it's Gorilla Corp, it's Chimpany Octane. So the ones that are to the right closer to me, the Monkey origin story, the Legend of Lemming, those are like the prequel trilogy. That's like what are all the questions that we want to answer? Like in the world of Gorilla Tag, why do Monkey have no legs? What's that about? Where did those kind of Monkey come from? Where are the humans? Is this a world where there are humans? Did there used to be humans? And why is Lemming so cool? In real life, we know why Lemming's cool. He made the game that we're all here to talk about this weekend. But if this was actually its own universe, what did Lemming do? Why is he the guy that everyone in Gorilla Tag knows, in Gorilla World knows and loves. So telling those stories gets really, really exciting. And if we were gonna tell like a Gorilla Tag movie, where we were gonna tell a story that got you guys excited, but maybe also introduced an entire new audience to Gorilla Tag that had never heard of it before, these are kind of the really good places to jump off of and say, okay, this is something that's gonna get everyone really excited.